Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. Today we're going to talk about some of the bullish indications on the cryptocurrencies charts that seem to be appearing and if those are truly meaningful, as well as the fact that we're starting to see a slight market recovery. We are now moving slightly higher over the past 24 hours. A lot of cryptocurrencies up around 3%, and some are even standing out more than that. Binance Coin up 13%, VeChain up a nice 20%. So hopefully we continue to move in this direction, and it's already much better than all the red that we were seeing before. We're going to cover everything in a more detailed technical analysis on TradingView in just a second, starting off with Bitcoin as per usual. And talking about Bitcoin, we're going to get into some news here. The Bitcoin death cross kind of failed. So for those that don't know what the death cross is, it's a technical indicator when the 50-day moving average drops below the 200-day moving average. And that's a bearish, crossover that kind of tells us that we're probably in for some pretty serious downside and that we're definitely in a bearish situation, that we're in a serious downtrend. What's interesting is that Bitcoin did end up having that death cross, but what was good is that it didn't really cause that much of a negative effect. We ended up, not really reacting to it that much, and that leads me to believe that we could definitely see the moving averages, bounce back up and return to a pretty bullish scenario pretty quickly here, which would kind of erase, the crossover in the first place, so to say, right? It's basically insignificant at that point. Another bullish indicator is that the RSI bounced on top of the 30 line, and that is usually where Bitcoin bounces after these downtrends. So with those things being considered, we could be in a situation where we have put in a low and that we are ready to move back higher now, but we still want to make sure that we move a little bit higher and that we get through some of the downtrends to truly confirm that, right? Because we're still not in the best situation, but at least it looks like some bullish indicators are starting to pop up, which is already a good sign. Don't forget to follow my premium content and my Twitter, link to both those in the description of this video. And let's get a little bit more into the technical analysis of the Bitcoin chart. So for what we want to see happen over the next few days, ideally I'd want to see the Bitcoin price move at least slightly higher, as well as starting to see the RSI break out of the blue downtrend line and the MACD get back above the orange line. That will be the second attempt here that we're about to try to get back above the orange line on the MACD, and usually the second time around it has a pretty good chance of happening. If it does, that will be a very bullish signal. As for the actual price, we still have a lot of resistance at around $8,000. So I'd consider us truly in the clear once we start getting towards $9,000. But it's not going to be the easiest thing to do, as we do have a lot of resistance ahead. We'll just have to see over the next couple days how things pan out. Are we going to continue to see a bit of recovery here, or are we going to start to get weak again, right? So we're going to have to pay very close attention to that. Let's take a look at Ethereum and see if we're getting some other signals as far as the Ethereum chart is concerned and what that could tell us for the rest of the crypto markets. So Ethereum is starting to flatten out as far as the price is concerned. Same things on the indicators, to be honest. And we're also about to get our second crossover attempt above the orange line on the MACD. So we're definitely going to be looking at that. That's going to be a very bullish sign, especially, like I said, the second attempt usually has a very decent chance at actually, making the crossover successful and for the price to start coming back up with it. So for the actual price, we want to see the price get back above the blue downtrend line, start moving slightly higher, and then getting above the red downtrend line, which is truly what we need to see as far as, turning bullish again. And even at this point, I'd say getting back above $500 would be the pretty clear signal for us to move back higher, right? After that, we have a pretty big gap where we should be able to pretty quickly get back, towards $700, $800, and then from there, it'll be the climb to 1,000. Of course, that's going to take a little bit of time from here, but hopefully we will start moving in that direction. It isn't sure yet, right? Like I said. So Litecoin is in a bit of a better situation compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's already coming back up above the 30 line on the RSI, which is a very good sign. And as for the price, we're slightly popping above the downtrend line, the blue downtrend line right here. So I think that we have a good chance of holding up pretty well here at the very least. And really, I expect some consolidation between where we are now, so at around $120, up until, our downtrend line, basically, or $145. So getting back above our downtrend line is going to be a very bullish indicator. But for now, I think that we're already going to see some progress as far as, at least some consolidation, maybe even moving slightly higher. Let's take a look at Nano next and see what it's been up to. So Nano did manage to break out of its downtrend, which is actually very significant. And from here, I think that we have a very good chance of starting to move back up towards, 80,000 Satoshis. I think that we're going to get back above that over the next day or so, maybe 2-3 days at the most, and then start moving back towards 100,000 Satoshis, right? Getting back above 100,000 Satoshis will be a very good sign. And if we take a look, we're even starting to make some progress as far as, a slight uptrend going. So it does seem like we're putting in higher lows. And now that we're out of the downtrend, we have the opportunity to start making some nice progress. So I actually like what Nano is doing right now. Let's take a look at Ripple, see what it's been up to. So we're going to go over to the Bitrix chart here. And Ripple is currently trying to get back above that 50-cent mark. As for the indicators, still pretty flat, not giving us that much signal. But the middle band is sitting at around 60 cents. So I feel like we are somewhat capped as far as, getting a very strong bounce just yet. At best here, we're probably going to be moving back towards that 65-cent level. But I think that Ripple is going to need to put in some consolidation here still between 50 cents and 65 cents before we're ready to move back up. Hopefully that won't last too long, maybe a week and a half, and then I would want to see Ripple start to slowly but surely move higher. Let's take a look at Neo next and see what's going on with Neo. So Neo is currently coming up on its support level at around $43. Obviously a very logical area where we could put in a bit of a bottom and bounce, start moving higher again. We still want to see things turn up a little bit higher as far as the MACD is concerned, RSI, and even the Bollinger Band and the middle band, which are still downtrending pretty badly. But at this point, I think that now that the market has stabilized a bit, I don't really see Neo moving lower than $43 just yet. I think that we're more likely to stay above that, maybe even start climbing slightly higher, closer to $60. With that being said, let's take a look at Stellar and see what Stellar has been up to. So we're going to go over to the Binance chart now on Stellar. And as you can see, it actually is acting quite strong here. Better than a lot of cryptocurrencies out there. We are actually uptrending on all indicators. And we also broke out of our short-term downtrend line here, which is important to point out. And we made our way back above 3,000 Satoshis, which is very significant. So we may start to slow down now as far as the increase is concerned, because we already had a couple nice days with a lot of buying volume. And as you can see, we have a little bit of a longer upper wick, which means that buyers weren't able to sustain those higher prices just yet. But I think that we're going to now consolidate in this higher range between 3,000 and 3,500 Satoshis. And then hopefully we'll be moving higher from there. But this is already a very good improvement. So I'm not trying to downplay that at all. Let's take a look at Vertcoin and see what Vertcoin has been doing. So Vertcoin is all the way down at its support level at $1.54. It attempted to get back above its downtrend line. It definitely struggled with that, right? Because we didn't really manage to sustain that too well. We have a longer upper wick, but indicators not looking too bad. A little bit of a higher low here on the MACD and on the RSI. So definitely a good chance that we start moving back towards $2.20. That would mean that we will have exited the downtrend line as well. And then, probably going to put in a little bit more consolidation before moving higher. But at this point, I'd say we just want to make sure that we don't drop below $1.54 and keep an eye out for that move closer to, basically higher in the $2 range. Let's take a look at Lisk and see what Lisk has been up to. So Lisk is actually looking pretty decent here. We have a nice little bounce on the MACD and the RSI. We still want to get bullish crossovers there. As for the price, we're trying to get back above the downtrend line. I feel like we have a pretty good chance of doing so, and then we'll probably come up back to $10. Might not be easy to get back above that just yet, so we could still see some consolidation between $8 and $10. But it looks like we will have avoided the drop below $6.24, at least for now. Unless the market really goes lower and Bitcoin starts moving closer to $4,000, which for the time being seems like it's somewhat avoided, especially if we start to recover over the next few days. Let's take a look at Stellar next and see what's going on with good old Stellar. So right now we're still trading between 2,000 and 2,500 Satoshis. Still have our nice little uptrend on the MACD, histogram, and RSI that are continuing. And I think that we're probably going to need to put in a little bit more consolidation because we're still waiting for the Bollinger Bands to flatten out a bit more. But once we're done with that, right, we're going to be ready to move back up and really get that U-shaped bounce like we're already getting on the MACD. Let's take a look at our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update, which is IOTA. And IOTA is bouncing on that $1 support level. As for the actual indicators themselves, we have a nice little higher low on the RSI, but still pretty flat on the indicators, not that many signals. As long as we hold above $1 here, I think we're okay. But I just want to make sure that we start, slowly but surely getting back above $1.13. That would avoid putting us close to the edge here, because right now, if we start tanking below $1, then it's going to be looking pretty ugly, right? We could very quickly go to 60 cents or even 50 cents and lower after that. So still looking okay for now. Just want to make sure that we remain above that dollar mark and that we maybe make some slight progress higher. With that being said, this is the end of the crypto update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.